I was with my company, a bank. Charlotte's a big banking city. Was with my bank for almost 30 years. In January 2024, I got the news that I was going to be laid off.
How are you using your background in banking towards entrepreneurship?
Customer service.
We didn't talk about the money. How the money looking?
If I meet 20 people a week, this is a true story. If I meet 20 people a week, 15 will say, oh, I thought about doing vending machines. Just do it. Call me. Call me. You have a resource now that can tell you the good, the bad, the ugly. Because it's not all, cupcakes and gummy bears.
You gotta win the day. You gotta win the day.
Hey, you hard, student.
Ladies and gentlemen, Portia Boston. Portia, tell me the best piece of advice that someone has given you the first 6 months of the year. Because now we're like in the second half. So what is some good advice that you can share with the round table today?
Hang in there.
Straight like that?
Straight like that. Good days, bad days, hang in there.
Okay. All right. How have you had to hang in there so far this year?
Well, I lost a couple of locations that I thought I was going to get.
Okay.
I was pretty confident I was going to get them. I got outbidded.
Okay.
Went home pretty sad.
Okay.
But my husband said, hang in there.
Oh, I like that. So let's go back. We are working in corporate America and something shifts and you have to pivot. And while you're telling us to hang in there, there's been a moment where you've done more than just hang in there. You are literally putting boots to the ground and creating something that you never thought you were going to before. So start with the corporate life. How in the world did we get to vending machines?
I was with my company, a bank. Charlotte's a big banking city. Was with my bank for almost 30 years. In January 2024, I got the news that I was going to be laid off. Yes. At work today and not at work tomorrow. That quick. So I had to figure out quickly, what am I going to do?
Right.
And of course, that word is pivot.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I had a severance after being with the bank so long, so I had a chance to kind of figure out what's my life going to look like now.
Right.
So started researching vending machines, and my cousin called. He was doing vending machines. He said, we like it. You should take a look at it. Here we are.
Here we are. Okay. That happened. It had to happen like in the blink of an eye. So in that moment, what was your first reaction when you got the layoff?
It's funny because even though I knew the layoff was going to be coming for probably about a year, I was still very shocked. In fact, because I knew it had been coming for a year, I really didn't know how to feel.
Okay.
And probably about October of that year, October 2023, I actually went to therapy because I couldn't get a handle on my emotions.
Right.
And I can't remember what the therapist asked me, but whatever my response to her was, I said, I'm very angry with the bank. And then I just started crying.
Yeah.
Because it changed the whole trajectory of what I thought my life was going to be. I was supposed to retire there.
Right.
I was on this side of retirement. I wasn't starting. I'm 40. At the time, I was 46 years old.
Okay.
I was going to stay there till, they gave me my retirement party. That's what I was looking forward to.
Okay.
But it was over.
Yeah.
But once I cried and let it out that I was angry, I was good to go.
So you just needed to release.
Just needed to release. I didn't know how to feel. And I think all that time I was angry, but I couldn't put it into words.
Right.
But once I said that, I was fine.
Ooh, had you done therapy before that?
No.
So it took that for, okay.
Yeah, it took that to send me to therapy. And it was strange because in my mind, I felt like people get laid off every day.
Yeah.
This should be no different for me.
Right.
But I think whether you know what's coming or not, it's still very traumatic.
Yeah.
And because I had been there so long, I've been there since I was 18 years old.
That is wild. So you basically grew up you had different stages. You had your teens, 20s, 30s.
My started at 18, I remember turning 21. People at the branch that I worked at were excited because I was the baby.
Wow.
I was the baby of the branch for years.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, when I got married, I was working there. When I had my first child, I was working there.
You had so many stages of life.
I had so many stages of life. I only had 3 jobs. I started out working at Winn-Dixie,
Okay.
a local grocery store.
Okay.
I worked at Sears one summer because I was trying to save money to go on a cruise with some family members.
Okay.
Then I had the bank. And so when my friends were going off to college, I was entering corporate America.
Wow.
When they came back and got jobs, I was now moving up in the bank.
Yeah.
And so now I was getting kicked out of the bank.
So did you have any kind of notice that, I guess, something was going to be changing within the company? I know you said a year, but did you feel something before they let you know?
We were a very busy department.
Okay.
But the bank also went through a merger of equals. And after that merger of equals, things just began to change. And so about a year before I was laid off, because I was I guess you call me a loan documentation person. And so I was a loan documentation specialist. I had lenders that I supported them with their loans.
Yeah.
But they got laid off about a year before. And that was like a shock. And they kept us around. I think they really did try to find us jobs.
Okay.
I'll give them that. But, you know, with the loan officers gone and so much uncertainty, they just couldn't find us anything. And it was interesting because a couple weeks ago, you had Bernadette Joy on your show.
Yeah.
And during the pandemic, I actually linked up with Bernadette Joy.
Okay.
She would teach like this money class for women at night.
Okay.
But she would also meet with us once a week and just kind of, you know, ask us what your goals are, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
And I remember Bernadette said, you know, what would you do if you ever got laid off from work? And I remember thinking, my department is busy.
Yeah, that ain't me.
Yeah, I mean, no. And, you know, if you know Bernadette, she's very energetic. She's like, Portia, you know, you need to think about what are you going to do if you ever get laid off from work? And even though I still thought she was kind of crazy, it was always in the back of my mind, strangely enough. It was always in the back of my mind.
Okay.
What would I do if I got laid off from work? So in that year after the lenders got laid off, I started researching different avenues.
Okay.
And I thought about doing ice vending machines.
Okay.
But that didn't get good reviews. I called around to people, they were like, don't do it.
Okay. Okay.
And then, like I said, I started sending out these text messages to my friends. Hey, I've been laid off. You know, I have girlfriends. They're good Christian women, but the text message that they sent back talking about the bank was hilarious.
I can only imagine.
They know who they are. Yeah, they'll see this video and think, yeah, we said some bad stuff about that bank.
I can only imagine the group chat at that moment. Listen, you got friends who gonna ride for you.
Oh yeah, and they were riding for sure. But
Okay.
I needed that.
Yeah.
I needed that day, and it helped me to laugh because.
Right.
Like I said, it was trauma. I mean, like I said, it happened so quick. And even though I knew it,
Yeah.
you're here today, you're gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
But my cousin called the second day, and he said, "Hey, we started with this company called Naturals to Go. It's a vending machine company.
Okay.
I think you should look into it." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." But I actually called his wife back because I thought, you know, y'all are doing this vending machine company. You know, your husband's a male, you know, I'm talking about the female. Can you do all this heavy lifting?
Yeah.
You know, you got these sodas that are heavy.
Like how it's about to work.
Correct. And she was like, girl, I love it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's like, I love it.
So she gave you some just ammunition to like, this is a good path to go down.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go back because you said you were looking at the ice vending machines.
Yes.
So were you already looking for the ice vending machine before you got put onto the snack vending machine?
I was.
So you was already kind of headed down the path. You just connected with some people who was like, okay, here's the green light.
Correct.
Interesting. Okay. So how long before you started, I guess, looking into the machines, whichever one, compared to the time that you got laid off? Like, did you take a moment where you just were doing nothing?
No.
Okay.
And it's funny because my husband actually said to me, you should take some time off.
Right.
But I mean, I had a really decent severance from the bank. But one thing I know, being in finance, money runs out.
Right.
And I was low key scared because
Okay.
I thought, you know, what am I going to do? Because I mean, everybody kept saying, oh, you have over a year's severance. That's great. But in my mind, I thought, no, I got to jump on this quick. So I think in probably about 2 weeks, I was already on board with Naturals to Go.
Right. You know what? Let me just pause real quick because shout out to Black women, because one thing we're gonna do is figure it out, and we're not gonna take no for an answer. And it sounds like you did not take no, and you're like, you know what, we need to go and get it. And
Yeah.
so take a moment and say, I'm proud of you for pushing yourself, because you were definitely, like you said, going through trauma at that moment, but you kept like getting up. So
thank you.
Shout out to you. Let's just take a moment and shout out to you. So hit the ground running and you connected with the couple. So did you jump right into it, or did you still do some research on your own? Like, how do we connect the dots on the conversation to going straight to getting maybe one?
I did some research on my own. And I mean, I'll admit, you know, when you do research on the internet, people have good and bad reviews.
Okay.
Not just about the company, but vending machines in general. You see good and bad reviews. And so I like the fact that I had somebody to fall back on that I can ask, or to know that, hey, this really worked for them. Right. Because I think that's what holds us back. Because if you have Instagram or TikTok, you see all these ads for these, you know, you can make money with me, make money with me, make money with me.
All the side hustles.
All the side hustles. But if you don't really know somebody that's actually done it and been successful with it, you kind of just scroll through, or you just kind of, you know, think that won't happen. That won't be my results. That won't happen to me.
Or you just don't see how it's going to make you some money.
Correct.
So it's kind of like a mentor?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was nice to see that, hey, I knew somebody, and my cousin that was doing it, he's a firefighter. He actually watched one of his fellow firefighters for a year doing vending machines before he jumped into it.
Okay.
So now you got everybody watching somebody else to know that, hey, there's actually some good results with this.
Okay. So, what made you press go?
Well, Ruby, they say great ideas are born out of inspiration and desperation. At this point, I was just desperate.
You was desperate.
I was desperate.
You was desperate. Okay.
And I didn't want to go back to corporate America so quickly. My whole life had been regimented with the bank. 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5.
Because you could have went back. Hold up. Let me just correct me if I'm wrong. You could have went to another bank, right?
I could have.
Because you had the resume.
Correct.
At the end of the day, the 30 years, like, you didn't have to do this, the side hustle turn. Now we're making it happen, business straight, entrepreneurship. You could have went to a bank. What made you not do that?
So now we're going to get into my therapy.
Okay.
So November 2023.
Okay.
Came downstairs working from home. Like I said, I did loans, and we had like this loan queue. We were always very busy. I was in governmental finance. We were always very busy the last quarter of the year. Okay. Turned my computer on, and I saw probably about 10 loans in my queue. Okay. And I started shaking. I was just so stressed out and so tired. And I started crying. And I prayed, and I said, you have got to get me. I don't know what to do. Okay. I've got to get out of here. And I probably would have never left the bank. Maybe would have found another job. I don't know. But because our department was so small, we had a whole path and plans for our department for like people to take over. Right. So there was a path for me also. I mean, my supervisor, I report directly to her. She had her thoughts on how she wanted the team to go, and I was a part of that. I was a part of that team. So I probably would have never just left. But I was just so stressed out because we had gone through the pandemic. And because we were going through a merger, we were at home with a child that's in kindergarten, doesn't know how to read. My husband's in one room, I'm in one room. It's just very stressful. Yeah. And during that time, I started to really see the cracks. And I think that's why I didn't go back right away, because I had lived that life. Okay. And now I want to see, I've been given this opportunity. Right. Instead of just jumping back into the frying pan. Right. Let me just try something else.
Okay. So while you were working at the bank, it got to a point where you already maybe physically checking out, mentally checking out, but not checking out because it's been your day to day for a very long time. Yes. And so if I'm looking at it correctly, while I understand and I can resonate with the trauma of just having to figure out something really quickly, on one hand, did you think like, if I'm going to do something different, this is my chance. If I'm going to get out, this is my chance. So you kind of called it in a little bit of starting something new and getting out of the bank.
Yes, because honestly, I was scared. I knew I would never leave the bank. And now I had this opportunity. I've been praying about it. And now I had this opportunity, because even when I knew I was going to get laid off, I started with a prayer of, please let me keep my job. Then I thought, let me step back, because what if there's something better out there and I'm praying for this? Yeah. And there's something better. So then I started saying, do what's best for me and my family. Ooh. And then when I started seeing all these other opportunities and I got laid off, then I thought maybe this is my chance.
Yes.
This is my chance.
Because maybe if there wasn't a layoff, you would have still been there. But because of the layoff, God gave you a new pivot. Mm-hmm. He gave you a new start to put your family first, put you first. Because now you literally went from having mentors, and maybe they're still mentoring you and giving you advice, but you have multiple vending machines that you are running your own, and women are reaching out to you saying, hey, how do I do this? And we can get to that, but I'm just shedding the light on, there was purpose in that pivot.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
So where are we now? Okay, so did we have to take classes? Did we have to take training? Once we decided, okay, boom, ready, set, go, got the mentorship. Was it just an easy, okay, do you buy the whole machine? Do you transport it to the location? Like, how is the A to Z?
Well, that's why I like this company too, because while I tell others, when women call me, anybody calls me asking about vending machines, you don't have to take the route that I did.
Okay.
But because I've been with the bank for so long, I wasn't able to invest in a company that gave me training.
Right.
That gave me a mentor, that gave me a coach.
Right.
Shout out to Coach Al and Mary Grill, because they are just excellent. And I say that because I have a banking background. I know nothing about machines. The first day the first machine was sent to the location, I was stunned.
Did you look at it and was like, what?
Yes, very much so. Scared of it. Scared to touch the thing.
Scared of the vending machine.
Scared of the vending
machine?
Yeah, the vending machine. Because I'm not technical either.
Right.
I mean, I'm just not technical.
So this was a whole different.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yes, going from the bank to this type of entrepreneurship was a whole different field. So you're just like, was it uncomfortable, or was it just, okay, here we go. We signed up for this. Let's do it.
Oh, it was uncomfortable because
Okay.
I've been sitting at a desk all day with a computer.
Now you outside.
Now I'm outside. If I want to keep my hair wrapped all day long, I could.
You could do that.
I could do that.
Because you don't have to really talk to people unless you get to the point where when I was out with you, people love to see you and they see you coming consistently. So you had a lot to get through.
I had a lot to get through, but it was very different for me.
Yeah.
And so I liked having a coach and a mentor because I didn't know what to do.
Right.
And so when you step out of your comfort zone like I did, it's just nice to have someone that's kind of guiding you.
Right.
That was the best thing.
Right. So you're not just out there looking blind, leading the blind.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. What was, I guess, the number one piece of advice those mentors gave you once you were in that uncomfortable stage of, okay, we have one?
Hang in there.
Oh, that's going to be the title of the episode. Hang in there.
Because, and I think you and I have talked about this too. Everybody wants to have their own business. Everybody does. But it takes a certain amount of endurance. Like I was talking to the girl that does my hair the other day. I know her from the bank, and she said, even though I do well with hair, I like to get a regular check too.
Right. Okay.
So it takes, you have your good days and your bad days.
Yeah.
And I was used to getting a regular check, but
Right.
then, if snacks don't sell, it may not be a good week.
Right.
If sodas don't sell, then the Chick-fil-A nuggets that I buy from my son, it may be an 8-count meal week instead of a 12-count meal
Right.
week. So that's the thing. So you have to hang in there for the long run.
If you are a mom, if you are a woman, you're always thinking about, what can I do to make more money? America loves snacks. America thrives on snacks. So snacks have allowed me to earn some extra income to take care of me and my family. When women come to me, the problem is usually revenue. Of course, all of us think about, how do I use money to get more money? But I let them know, this is the way out. There's research and there's training to help you work this machine. And it's not that difficult. Most of us are in some type of job, or we had training or some kind of corporate job, we had classes to take, and this is no different. I can teach you, I can help you. In my business, my favorite word is pivot. I had to learn from an unconventional loss how to take care of my family and I. If you would have told me in January of 2024 that I'd be stocking vending machines, I would have laughed in your face. But a layoff happened. I was very surprised. But again, I had to pivot and figure out how to turn that loss into revenue to my family and I. Now I'm empowering you. I'm telling you, it's a system that works.
Business plan? So did you have some sort of like way, okay, you got the one, were you just winging it with the one, or did you have some sort of plan to see, okay, how can we make consistent revenue?
I was winging it with the one because I still had my money from my severance.
Okay.
So I was just kind of trying to see I spent the first year figuring out how the business works.
Okay.
How to make contacts, how to use the machine.
Okay.
How to decide what each location likes.
Okay.
Because I always thought if I had a vending machine company, everybody would drink Coke.
It's the one size fit all
Right.
for each company,
Yes.
but that's not.
Yeah, that's what it was supposed to be in my mind. But I have locations down south. They like Pepsi and Coke. Mm-hmm. You go to Concord, they like Sun Drop and Cheerwine.
So now it goes from not only learning the machine, but then also learning what locations need the machine to then the locations that need machines, what they're needing inside of the machine, so you know how to stock it each time.
Yes.
Ooh, how do you stay organized?
Some days I don't.
Okay, and it's okay.
But it's getting better over time because now things are getting a little bit more consistent.
Okay.
People are getting more, and because what messes you up sometimes too is snacks are seasonal.
Okay.
So, like people like ramen noodles in the winter.
Listen.
Yeah, that's not really selling now.
In the summer.
So now I'm putting in Star-Kissed tuna. That's selling.
Right.
And so sometimes you have to figure out, okay, I have a coffee vending machine.
Okay.
That does really good in the wintertime. In the summertime, it's okay. So you have to learn to kind of ride the waves and see what people like also. And I wasn't expecting that portion of it. I just thought, okay, it's just going to be the same every time.
That's going deep now that I'm thinking about it. Like literally how you're able to just spit that out. Would you have thought that you would have to really be so personable with each location then versus now?
No.
Okay.
I would not have. And also, too, because it's been a year and the people feel comfortable with me now, they'll tell me now, bring more of this. We don't like that.
Okay.
Whereas before they said it a little bit nicer, because it was more of a business relationship,
right.
we don't particularly care for regular monsters,
Yeah.
Now they like, girl, don't bring them monsters back. We want, we want Red Bulls.
Okay. I like that. So basically you are creating relationships with the people inside of these businesses that you probably weren't thinking before. But then also now, if I'm not mistaken, let's say you have a new location, based on these conversations, these relationships, on how they're communicating, like what they like, don't like, has that changed your business model going to a new business on the questions you ask up front?
It definitely has.
Okay.
It definitely has. Because before, I still have standard items that I put in the vending machine.
Okay.
But I will ask them, hey, what do you think they would like? And I put like a whiteboard up sometimes, and I'll say, put on the whiteboard what you like, or send an email out to your employees.
I like that.
And ask them what do they want to see in the vending machine.
Right.
And that's usually very helpful.
Yeah, because they need to buy it. You need to know what they like so they can be able to buy it.
I got an email 2 weeks ago from somebody that said, hey, Portia, we're a picky bunch. We're ready to switch again.
Wow.
So
they're really into it. He's sending you an email telling them, okay.
Oh, yeah. And because a lot of my people, too, they're warehouse workers or they're mechanics at car dealerships. So they're eating, they're hungry.
Yeah.
And it's not just about money. I feel a sense of responsibility to them too. I want to make sure that they're eating too, they're able to do their jobs.
Right.
Because I see them working. When I'm doing the vending machines, they're behind me working. They're hungry.
Right.
And that inspires me to find stuff that they like also.
Okay. What took place for you to go from one vending machine to 3? Like, what did you have to change, or how were you able to speed it up?
Well, with the company I went through, you have to buy 4 vending machines at once.
Oh, so wait. So when you were in that uncomfortable position with 1, you actually had 4?
They weren't placed yet though.
Okay.
They come from you can order them from the warehouse when you're ready.
Okay.
So I had 1 machine.
Okay.
And then as I found different locations, you order the machines, they're sent to the different locations.
But you had already invested in 4.
I already invested in 4.
Okay.
And then when I decided, okay, I like doing this, I decided to buy more machines. That's how the 9 vending machines came about.
Wow.
Because I like what I'm doing.
So how does it feel knowing that you went from 1 to 9, you stuck with it, you still hanging in there?
Actually, I'm very proud of myself.
Yes.
I am. I'm very proud of myself. because, like I said, this is so different for me. If you'd have asked me 2 years ago what you'd be doing vending machines, I would have said no, because that's just I sit at a desk.
Yeah,
I keep my hair wrapped. If it's raining outside, I say, "Oh wow, it's raining outside."
Oh, but now if it's raining, you still got to go start up a vending machine.
Yes, and I have to watch I didn't watch the weather before. I have to watch. I mean, I was probably, we had a lot of snow this year, a lot of snow warnings. And I heard my son on the phone one day. He's like, "Oh yeah, we may not be going to school on Wednesday. It's supposed to snow." I'm like, "Oh wait," because now there are locations that I do on Tuesday and Wednesday that now I have to combine into one day, because I didn't know if they were calling for a huge snowstorm. You never know what the weather's going to do. So that Wednesday before it snowed, that Tuesday, I hit probably about 4 locations.
Wow.
That day, starting about 7 o'clock in the morning till about 6 o'clock at night, trying to make sure everybody was stocked up.
Right.
Because my locations stay open, but also too, I'm a Southern girl. I can't be out driving in snow.
Right, we don't do that. We don't do snow. No.
You see, my husband's from Rochester, so he thinks that is absolutely
It is
hilarious. But I don't know. I can't go out there in snow.
Oh, that was funny. Okay, so it sounds like a lot of time management. Are you making your schedule based on, I guess you just answered it, how you want to start and stop, or based on the location where you got to go?
I'm making it based on, well, it just depends on the day. Most of the
Okay.
time it's a location.
Okay.
But the first couple of months, I was very regimented. I am trying to work it a little bit more casually now.
Okay.
Just because I was in corporate for so long and it was very, 9 to 5.
Okay.
So there was times I would get up in the morning. I'm like, okay, we're all up. I might as well go to the location.
Right.
Now I'm like, you know what? I'm sleepy. I'm going back to bed.
Okay.
So instead of getting in that location at 7 o'clock, I might get there at 8:39.
Okay.
Because I'm just trying to now enjoy.
Kind of like find your
Yes,
rhythm, your groove
yes.
in it now that you kind of got it.
Correct. And I know as I get more locations, I won't be able to do that.
Right.
Eventually, if I get as many as I would like, I'll probably have to hire somebody.
Right.
But for now, as I get more locations, I won't have the time to really chill.
Right.
So I'm just trying to enjoy the chill time a little bit.
Right. When we were together, you were at the apartment complex and then we went to the car dealership. So have you found like a sweet spot in the type of locations that you want the vending machines at?
I love the car dealership.
Okay.
Because I love people.
Okay.
I like the fact that when I go in, I can hear the employees of the dealership talking to the customers. And I like the fact that the customers, they interact with me. They're very interested in vending machines.
Okay.
So I wasn't expecting the whole community outreach piece of it, because people come up and they're always like, is this your company? Are
Right.
these your machines? They want to know about the machines, how I went about getting them. So I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
So I like being around people. And I think that's probably from being in the bank and having a customer service background too.
Yeah.
So I like car dealerships or anywhere there's people. I like
Okay.
to be.
Okay. So basically it's more social than you thought you would be, even though, because you're kind of like one woman banding it, but it sounds like that you're still building a community of people who look forward to see you.
Very much so. And one day I was at the car dealership, a lady came in and I talked to her for a little while. About 2 weeks later, I saw her at Walmart.
Wow.
And I said, because she worked at Walmart. And I said, I think I remember you came into the car dealership. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, yeah. Well, then as I was checking out, she took out a gift card. And she said, you can use part of my gift card because we family now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But I was excited about that. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Just how excited people are about the vending machines and seeing you work your own business.
Right. So how long has it been now?
This June, it's been a year.
Ooh.
Been a year. I got my first location in May of last year.
Okay.
So it's been right at a year.
Okay.
And ironically, 2 weeks from now would have been my 30th year anniversary at the bank. I would have been getting my retirement party from the bank.
Right.
But now I'm running my own business instead.
Listen, talk about it. Okay, so I'm about to paint a picture. So follow me. Let's say you have a meeting in the morning. The meeting is at a coffee shop. You're meeting the woman who worked at the bank. She was sitting behind the desk every day, kind of thinking like, oh, I'm stressed out, but I'm going to stick with it. She's meeting who you are today, owning your own business, year in. What would that conversation be?
I think I would tell her, don't be afraid to pivot. It's okay to step out of your comfort zone. It's going to be okay. I know you're in this little box right now, but it's okay to take a step outside the box, to think bigger than the bank. Because she never had to before.
Yeah.
It's okay to step out. It will be okay.
Yeah.
Step outside the box.
Okay. So now stepping outside of the box, are there any business tips that you can share with someone who may be watching this and they're in this box that they have created for themselves, but they're thinking, I want to jump into a side hustle. I want to start entrepreneurship. Just based on your year, like what advice would you give that person?
I would tell them, don't be afraid to try it. And I say that because a woman came to the vending machine one day and she said, well, I wanted to try vending machines, but my friends talked me out of it. And I said, why? And she said, I don't know. They just said it's risky. She gave a bunch of ideas and excuses. But if you want to do something, you have to do it. I think there's like a stirring inside of us. I think when we feel like we should be doing something else or doing more. And you can't be afraid to try it.
Right.
That's one of the things that I really can say I can appreciate about my husband.
Okay.
Because when I've had some very tough days, and I said to him once, why would you let me do this?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just ask me to go back to work?
Yeah.
And he said, I want you to be happy. He said, as long as we don't lose the house, I don't. He said, I want you to be happy.
Right.
And sometimes where we are in life doesn't make us happy. And so now we have to step out of what we're doing and try something else. So if it's not making you happy, don't listen to anybody that tries to tell you not to do it. I mean, do the research. Give it a try.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You fail.
Right.
So at least okay, a year or two from now, 10 years from now, I tried.
Yeah.
But who wants to live life with regrets?
Right. Because of what your friends may have talked you out of. Because at the end of the day, you have to listen to yourself, because you're the one who's going to be out there hustling, bustling, going to meet the people to see if you can do business, not the people who are telling you not to.
And a lot of times we are the first people in our friend group or in our family sometimes that have stepped outside the box. We are very conditioned to work a 9-to-5 job or a steady job, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But now we live in a society where people are making money on the internet. You have influencers out there. There's all these different avenues to make money.
Right.
So sometimes we are the very first to step out of our comfort zone and do something.
Okay.
So you can't be afraid to try.
Right.
Because there's always going to be somebody that says,
Yeah, especially if they haven't done it before.
Correct.
You know?
Correct.
Okay, so what is something that now that you're in the year that you're like, okay, we got to tighten this up. We got to work on this. We have to fix this in your process.
One of the hardest things to do in vending is find locations. So I want to get better at finding locations, being able to talk to people.
Okay.
That's probably one of the things that I'd like to get better at right now, because I would like to have 12 vending machines by the end of the year.
And it's going to happen.
So I have to get better at being able to just go up and talk to people about, hey, I see your vending machine. Would you like to upgrade it? Because I go into these companies, sometimes these facilities, and their vending machines are old.
Right.
And they have expired food, or the person didn't show up. I have a good product to sell, and I believe that. So I need to be more confident in saying, hey, I have a product that I think would be much better for you and your employees.
So are you emailing, calling, or just showing up?
Showing up is usually better, because I
Okay.
can show them a picture of the machine.
Okay.
But the hardest thing sometimes is to get past, we call it the gatekeeper. So if I can't get past the gatekeeper, then I try to figure out, okay, who's in charge here? Who makes the decisions?
Okay.
So I try to do a lot of networking to see, okay, who is the decision maker here? And I actually went to a networking event yesterday. And
Okay.
it was very helpful, because when people saw the product, they were like, oh, call such and such. She's who you need to talk to.
Right.
It's like I called somebody this morning and she said, well, I don't make the decision. She said, but I do talk to the decision maker a lot. So getting to the right person.
Right.
That's what I need to work on. And not being, I wouldn't say that I'm timid, but it's still very weird to walk into a place sometimes and just be like, hey, I have this vending machine.
Right.
Cold calling can be very difficult.
Yeah.
So I want to feel more comfortable with it this year. That's one of the things I want to work on the most.
Okay. And you can do it. You can do it. And the good thing about it is you've done the research, you're doing the training. So how can you use those as tools and confidence to say, look, I know my business, and how can I create a partnership or relationship with you and figure out what you need and how we can work together. So you got it. It's there. You got it. You already showing up. So hang in there. Okay. 6 months left. Whether you want to buy a home or sell one, you need the right person to help make that dream come true. Someone who knows the market, has the right relationships to support you, and keeps his finger on the pulse of the community. So what are you waiting for? Do what I did and contact Vaughn Hayes today, because you are the key to making it all happen, and that house is waiting for you to call it home. There have been some women that are reaching out to you now that they're hearing about your story, or just word of mouth on this is working for you. What do you have in place, or are you working on something to maybe teach some classes or just give some advice to women who are saying, hey, Portia, how can I get involved?
What I've been doing is consulting. A woman reached out to me probably about 6 months ago and said, hey, I saw you flavor box vending. I saw you do vending machines. Mm-hmm. I'd like to get involved with this or get some information from my children. Mm-hmm. Because she was an online influencer. Okay. And she said to me, but I want to find something that my children can do. That's because they're teenagers. They're thinking about part-time jobs. Mm-hmm. What can I do? And then she said, I'd be willing to pay you. And I thought, oh, okay. So I talked to her, and I kind of told her about the business. She was very interested. So she's in the process actually of trying to get a vending machine. She's not going to the company that I went through, but she's just getting a vending machine, like something smaller for her child. Just kind of get them started in business or thinking about entrepreneurship. Yeah.
No, I love that. So is this something children can do?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
So the vending machine is very tall.
Okay.
It's like my son, he usually will put the sodas into the lower racks.
Okay.
And I have to sit on the stool to do the higher racks.
Right.
No, it's something that children absolutely can do.
Okay.
But it also teaches children about running a business also.
Right.
Because like my son, he helps with the inventory.
Okay.
He brings the sodas into the house or into the storage space.
Okay. How old is he?
He's 10.
Okay.
He's 10. But he's like his mama. He likes money.
Yeah.
So
like money.
Yeah. So now he lets me know, Mama, it's the 15th. It's time for me to get paid.
That is funny.
So and it's because I told him, I'm like, he never really knew what the date was before.
Right.
But now he knows on the 15th I get paid.
Yeah.
And there's some parents out there. The kids play this game called Roblox.
Yes.
And he loves Robux. And so what I did for him is I thought, okay, you can put $5. You put $5 towards Robux, but the rest has to go into your savings account.
Right.
But it's teaching him a work ethic,
right?
Which is what I like. You can't just spend.
Yeah.
And then he's the type too. If we hit 3 vending machines a day, stocking them, he wants something out of every vending machine. So I'm like, okay, well now you use your own money and you buy the stuff.
Right.
So it's teaching him, financial responsibility.
Right. Do you have the goal of kind of maybe stepping back from the working in the business and creating a team as you get to those 12 vending machines to run it? Or are you kind of wanting to get through the rest of the year and just kind of you still doing most of the work?
I want to get through the rest of the year and do most of the work myself.
Okay.
But eventually I would like to have a team. Okay. Because there's a lot that goes into it. A lot of people just think, you just go and you stock the machine. There's ordering. There is accounting that has to be done. I have to think about what goes into each location. All that's on me. So I have one day off a week that I'm not out doing the vending machines, but that day goes by pretty quick.
Right, because you're doing, it's like all the admin and all the behind the scenes.
Correct. So I would love to have a team where I only went to certain locations and they did the rest.
Okay.
That is the ultimate goal.
Okay, so what is your favorite snack? We have all these things. So this must be your popular go-tos. I'm probably going to get the tuna lunch to go. Ramen on a day. Yeah, sometimes I have a craving for ramen. What's your favorite thing?
My favorite thing are the Ruffles, sour cream and cheddar, and a Sprite.
Yes.
I have a problem. I don't eat like I should because I'm on the road so much. Okay. And so sometimes lunch is just Ruffles and a Sprite. I know that's terrible.
I was about to say, are you snacking?
Yes, I'm snacking, and I'm gonna try to do better with that.
Right.
I'm gonna try to start packing my lunch, but these are the go-to snacks for me also.
Okay. Yes. That is so funny. Okay, so when we were together, you had a system. You had the Tupperware in the trunk, and you kind of had it already organized. So that's what you're doing on that one day off too, kind of organizing your car, organizing the Tupperware. So when you go to locations, you just pull it out, reel it in, and you already know what goes into each specific machine.
Yes, that's what I'm doing a lot of times.
Ooh.
So what did you think about the vending machine?
Now, like let's say when I walked into this location, I think of you. Because I looked at the vending machine, I'm like, oh, Portia. I don't know why. Like I went to a location earlier today and they had them lined up and I'm like, Portia. Now I'm kind of just like looking at them differently because now I see the process of them getting stocked and the time that it takes, even from like you just seeing how your car was laid out, organized to get it in there. You having the what do you call it? Little trailer.
About the
cart to put everything on. Like I'm just looking at the whole process like, wow, like it's a process. People think, they're just going up, swiping, walking away, but it's so much into it that I would have never guessed. But I think if I were going to start a business such as the vending machines, the only thing that I would be worried about, I guess, is the machine, just making sure the machine is working correctly. Because there was one instance where when we were out, someone was trying to get stuff out of the machine as you were working on it and you closed it and allowed them to work on it. So my nervous system will be like, is that gonna mess up my money? Is that like, just allowing them to come into the machine at the same time you're working on it? Does that mess up anything, the process, or is everything still running smoothly even though, they interrupted that time?
And it's funny because I actually had that same thought.
Okay.
For the longest time, people would walk up and they'd be like, I know you're working on it. Can I get something? And I'd be thinking, no, because I don't want to mess anything up. But someone told me they can still get stuff out.
Okay.
And so I just close the door. I let them use their card. And sometimes they can even use cash. And they just get stuff out the vending machine.
Okay.
So that was one of my pain points also.
Okay. Because I just wouldn't want to miss no 25 cent, no coins. Another thing that I liked when we were together, you had your phone where it was an app where you could see, okay, this needs this machine needs that. So I think by seeing that, it's not like you're kind of writing it down like every machine. You had technology or an app that showed you what each machine needed.
And that's one of the greatest features for me, too, because I'm not just coming into the location blindly,
right?
Bringing 15 Cokes when they only need 10 Cokes.
Right.
The app tells me exactly what's needed at each location. And I love that part of it.
Right.
And customers seem to really like that, too, because I've had complaints from customers about how, hey, he brings us Coke when we need Sprite.
Right.
And so because he has Coke, he puts in Coke when we want it Sprite.
Right.
So I think customers really like that feature, too, that I know exactly what they're out of.
Right.
So if they like a certain product, when I come back, I'm going to bring that product.
Right. Okay. So between not messing up the money while customers are still trying to get in there while you're working, and then just that technology of knowing when you go, those will be my big things. I know you said when we were together that a lot of the women look at it and like, how am I gonna work this big machine? That wouldn't scare me. I don't think that would scare me.
Really?
Especially because you said there's training. If there's training,
yes,
then okay, cool. What are the directions? And then as you find your rhythm, your routine, you kind of knowing how to handle each one. But
and the training is really good, and that's why I started training people also, because I think that's one of the biggest things. People feel like, can I do this? Because I was someone that felt like that too. Can I do this?
Right.
And the training, that was another beneficial piece to me, because it gave me the confidence to get out there,
right,
and feel comfortable with this. Even though I felt like this machine is huge and much.
But you're not having to move it, right? You're not having to actually move it, place it. So then I feel like if somebody else doing the heavy lifting, okay. Right.
And I'm telling you, if I can do it, because I'm not technical at all. I mean, our machines don't break down much, but if they do, then there's someone my husband's getting a text message, hey, I'm at such and such location.
Yeah.
When can you get down here?
Right.
Because he's the one that does the heavy lifting on that. And I tell people, if you don't have someone that can help you, you can always hire somebody. I mean, I have somebody that comes out if my husband can't.
Yeah.
There's people out there that can help you. People are very familiar with vending machines in this area.
You just got to put yourself out there.
Just got to put yourself out there.
Right? Okay. I want to know, how are you using your background in banking towards entrepreneurship?
Customer service.
Okay.
There's a bank on every corner.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to differentiate our sales based on customer service.
Okay.
When I started off as a teller, when I was 18, we were taught to use people's name when they made a transaction, to get to know them, to ask about their families. And so I was a drive-through teller. So when they came through, I would say, hey, Ruby, how's your podcast going?
Yeah.
But after a while, you really start to care about people.
Yeah.
And the same with vending machines. People put a vending machine somewhere and then they just leave it.
Mm-hmm.
They never come back to it. and really they have horrible customer service. Just do what you say you're going to do.
Right.
If you're going to, if you say you're going to come back. When they call you, be responsive.
Yeah.
If you have, don't let expired food sit in there. I mean, it's just really good customer service skills.
Okay.
And if I took anything away from the bank, it was that.
Okay.
They were very big on customer service, making sure we had like a sundown rule. You got to call somebody back within 24 hours. We always did that.
Okay.
And I try to let my customers know too, hey, this broke. We're going to get it fixed.
Yeah.
So, or as I would say, my husband will be out there shortly.
My team.
It's my team.
Will be out
I call
there.
him my logistics manager.
You know what? I love it.
My logistics manager will be out there shortly.
They don't even know. They don't need to know.
No,
That is funny. Okay, so empower the person who is like, okay, I watched it. I heard her. I'm going to start. Can someone reach out to you?
Call me, email me. I'm on social media, but that's what I'm most passionate about. The person that's seeing this right now, because if I meet 20 people a week, this is a true story. If I meet 20 people a week, 15 will say, "Oh, I thought about doing vending machines." I went to that networking event yesterday. I would say everybody I met there was like, "Oh, I did it in college," or "I thought about doing it in college," or I thought about vending machines. Just do it. Call me. You have a resource now that can tell you the good, the bad, the ugly. Because it's not all, cupcakes and gummy bears.
Right.
But it's a good product where you can make some additional income. And we all need additional income right now. I mean, they say in the city of Charlotte, you gotta have what, $90,000 to live comfortably, or over $200,000 for a family of 4. Okay, well now it's
go to 80.
Well,
90.
it's 90.
100. Basically, it's 100.
And it's like over $200,000 if you have a family of 4.
Ooh.
So everybody can use, well, not everybody. I mean, I don't know what everybody's situation is, but a lot of people can use some additional income.
Facts.
And if you just had 1 or 2 locations that you stocked a couple times a week, and they were decent locations, you can make some good money in vending machines.
We didn't talk about the money. How the money looking? And be honest, I'll
be honest, the money's looking pretty good.
Okay.
What hurts right now is the cost of everything is going up, up, up.
Okay.
Like I raised my prices in January.
Okay.
I wish I would have waited to raise my prices because I probably could do to raise them again. But as a good businesswoman, I'm going to try to only do it once a year unless something just gets crazy.
Okay.
But the money it's pretty good money, honestly.
Right.
I mean, I have good locations that they have not complained that much about the cost of the products, because I think if you were a consumer, you know stuff costs.
Right.
And stuff costs me.
And things are gonna go up.
Correct. So it's not free. This is not discount vending machines.
Right.
So I have to charge because I have to make a profit too.
Okay, so when you raise the price, are we raising the price on each individual item?
No, I didn't raise the price on each individual item. I only raised the price on the items that went up for me.
Okay.
And then, of course, after I raised those items, all the other items went up. But I was doing a pretty good profit margin on some of those where I didn't have to really raise the price.
Okay.
But as we get closer to the end of the year and the prices start to go up, I'll definitely probably have to raise the prices again next year.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
But again, anybody that goes to the grocery store knows that things are going up. It's no different for me.
Okay. Yeah. Are you communicating that with the operations people of the businesses, or
Yes.
is that kind of like?
So when I raise the price, I put a note up there about a week or 2 before I did it.
Okay.
To let them know I'm going to raise the price.
Today's price is not tomorrow's price, basically.
But it wasn't like an absorbent amount.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what it'll be next year because it just all depends on what my cost is.
Right.
But it wasn't like an exorbitant amount, and I was kind of apprehensive. I thought I'm probably going to hear a lot of feedback about this. Nobody said anything.
Okay. What's your overhead?
For
Like, okay, if I were to start the vending machine business, are there any expenses or just anything that I would need to take into consideration?
I would say the biggest expense would probably be the machine.
Okay.
Because so if you go to YouTube,
okay,
there's people out there that are saying, "Oh, you can buy a cheap vending machine." Yes, you can. But do you want a machine that breaks down all the time?
Right. Because who gonna fix it?
Correct. So I personally would not buy a vending machine that probably costs less than $3,000 to $5,000. That's just me.
Is that is that one or the group of 4?
That's one. That's just one.
How much?
About $3,000 to $5,000.
Interesting.
you don't want anything that's going to be too cheap. Now, if you went through my company, the company that I went through, Naturals to Go, I mean, there's like a whole different plan.
Okay.
Of different, vending machines that you can buy, but you have to buy at least 4 and go through their program. So it might be a little bit more expensive. But like I said, you get the training, you get the customer service, you get the account manager.
It's like a whole situation.
It's a whole situation.
Okay.
You get a locator, a vending machine locator. It's a whole situation. But if you're just somebody doing it yourself, I would say do not buy a cheap vending machine. Do not buy a cheap vending machine. Now, if you're handy, it might be different for you. But you want a machine. You want a machine that looks good too.
Right.
People will see my vending machine and they're like, "Oh, this is so modern."
They're nice.
Yeah. So we're moving into a time where I think people are remodeling their lobbies. They want something that looks good.
Right.
So if you buy something that's too cheap,
Yeah.
I went to my old high school the other day trying to get their business, and I asked the girl there, I said, "Can I see your vending machine?" And when I saw it, I'm like, I couldn't believe how old that thing was.
Right.
So people want something that's modern, that they can actually see inside of. The old vending machines too, like if it's an old Pepsi or Coke machine, you can't necessarily see the stuff inside of it.
Okay.
My machine, you see everything inside of. People like that. It's all glass.
Right.
Even like my coffee machine, one of the guys at the car dealership said it makes us look very futuristic.
Yeah. No, facts. Oh, I didn't ask that. The coffee machine, was that in addition to the vending machine, or can you group that together?
You can group that together.
Okay.
You can group that together.
Okay. Is there something else you would add on outside of that, or just those two things are kind of good right now, the vending machine and the coffee machine?
That's probably good right now, just the vending machine and the coffee machine.
What would you add? Is there something you would add to that? Because that makes sense, the coffee and the vending.
No, not right now.
Okay.
No, I mean, there are some things that are going to be coming out this year that I will offer to customers. I can't really talk about that right now, but there are some other types of vending machines that are coming out that I definitely want to offer to my customers. But then you have things like a marketplace. Some of the bigger companies have what's called a marketplace, where it's kind of like an honor system. Everything is laid out.
Right.
And so, you go, you use your debit card, and you just kind of scan, and so you basically go and.
It's like a little store, like a little mini store. Yeah.
So I have not offered that to my customers, but I actually have a customer that, if all goes well, next year they're going to be in a complex where there'll be 300 to 500 employees.
Right.
So I'll probably have to offer that to them. But for the most part, besides the marketplace, the coffee machine, and the vending machine, I think I'm good for now.
So it's levels.
It's levels. I mean, we try to help everyone we can.
Yeah.
Every business is very different. Their needs are very different. So we just try to be able to supply what we can to everyone to help everyone's needs, basically.
Right. I'm here for it. That's why I said, when you ask me, what do I think about it? Now, when I go into places, I'm like, because now that I've seen your machine, I'm like, wow, now I notice kind of like, oh, this is an older machine.
Right.
I mean, I guess when you go up to it and you realize they don't have all the things, you kind of think about that. But now that I've watched your process, I'm like, oh, that ain't it. So,
and that's how we get a lot of referrals also. I mean, I have friends that call me and be like, girl, you need to call such and such, 'cause that vending machine they had was awful.
maybe that could be a part of your pitch. I have some friends and some people who frequent this business, and they recommended that I reached out to you.
That's a good idea.
Correct.
That's a good idea.
Correct.
Like my cousin called one day and she was like, have you seen the coffee machine at such and such place? You need to call them.
That is so funny. Thank you. Thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for pivoting, because stories like this, not only do I learn something and it gives me confidence and motivation, like I'm pretty sure there's someone who is going to see you, hear your story, and they're probably sitting at their desk. They're probably in a situation that they are, comfortable in, but they're knowing like there's something else and they need to hear stuff like this. So I appreciate you for stepping out on faith, because, if not you, who?
Well, thank you for having me.
No problem. And I can't wait for us to check back in and hear that you got 13. You said 12. Let's just say 13.
Okay, let's say
there's 13, a team of women.
13 by the end of the year. Let's go for it.
You got it. You literally got it. It's just, you already doing it. You on your way.